Welcome back to Just One Podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Bailey.
And Bailey, before we start today, I just have a quick question for you.
What do you have for me today, Taylor?
Are you a perfectionist?
Not usually.
Well, have you ever been a perfectionist? Have you ever wanted to achieve perfection?
Oh yeah, no, there are definitely games that I've historically played where I wanted to do that perfect run, so I would do it over and 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 over again.
And how did that make you feel?
Like a failure until I got it right. And then like a perfectionist.
Did it drive you to the point of insanity?
No, and it never drove me to the point of suicide either.
Damn, okay. I don't know why you brought that up. That went dark real quick. Wow, I don't even know what to say. You've left me hashtag shook.
I'm just saying there are a lot of perfectionists who are so stressed about getting perfection that once they think they've achieved it or once they've decided they'll never achieve it, their solution is offing themselves.
Kind of like in the movie we're talking about today.
I mean, I think so, but we kind of talked about it for a second beforehand and you were like, that's not at all what happened.
We did, but the movie that we're doing today is the 2010 Darren Aronofsky film.
Are you sure it's not Ari Aster?
You know, maybe it is. I think Ari Aster might have done this one too, because Darren Aronofsky did Midsummer, right?
Yeah, and Hereditary.
And then Ari Aster did Requiem for a Dream, right?
No. No.
We're keeping the joke alive.
Yes, we are.
But no, this is the 2010 drama thriller Black Swan, starring some very notable people. First off, with someone that we've already talked about on this podcast with our episode, Leon the Professional, Natalie Portman.
We also have Mila Kunis in this. You might know her from Family Guy.
I was going to say that 70s show, but that works too.
I mean, it could be that 70s show because that's 90s show released today.
And then we also have Vincent Cassel, I think that's how you say his last name, which I know him from Irreversible, but I know that he's in a lot of French movies.
Yeah.
He's good. I like him. And Winona Ryder.
Really?
Yeah, she was Beth.
So Beth wasn't in the movie for very long.
You are correct, but when she was in the movie,
It was Winona Ryder.
it was Winona.
We both fucked that up.
I fucked it up because you fucked it up. Winona Ryder. Like, you fucked it up, and I got real fucked up with that one. But you might know Winona Ryder from
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Stranger Things.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been in a lot. If you don't know who Winona Ryder is, then I'm sorry. I guess those are the notable people. Those are like the top 4.
Yeah, just go watch Stranger Things and you'll see her. She's one of the main characters in it.
Now, who wrote this masterpiece? Do you know?
Not off the top of my dome piece. I would have to consult my notes, which I just dropped my notes.
Oh, you dropped your notes? Don't worry. I got it. It is Mark Heyman, Andres Heinz, not Andre Heinz 57. He did not invent the ketchup. And John J. McLaughlin.
They did a real good job writing this.
And what is this movie about? If you had to do a spoiler-free summary over this movie, what would you say?
If I had to do a spoiler-free summary for Black Swan, I would say that it is a movie about a ballet dancer who is striving for perfection, and it's basically the artist's path to perfection and the psychosis and struggle that it ensues because of it.
This would normally be the time where I would say that's really shitty, but I'm going to let you have that one. I'm not even going to do mine because that was actually really good.
I wasn't even looking anything up. I was just freeballing that.
Did you freeballed it extremely well? That is pretty much what the movie is.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I'm doing better.
You are doing better, you're getting better, and you will achieve that perfectionism at some point. So we're getting closer to it. But on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being awful, 2.5, since you always correct me, even though I think it's 3, is an average film, and 5 being phenomenal. What do you give this?
So because 2.5 is average on this scale, I would give it a 3 because while I know it's considered to be a super solid movie and everybody loves it, to me it wasn't that good, but it was still slightly above average.
Okay, I can respect that.
What about you?
I would give it a 4 out of 5, I think.
Of course, because it's pretentious, artsy bullshit and you're super into nonsense like that.
That hurts. That cuts me very deep. But no, I think there are flaws with it, obviously. I think that the majority of the movie is good. I will say the first 30 minutes or why my score is what it is. If we can get past the first 30 minutes, really takes off. And I think it's worthy of a 4. But what do you think old Roger Ebert gave it? Because he was still alive when this came out.
Probably a 4 on his scale.
3.5, you were close.
I was close.
Because he likes that artsy, pretentious bullshit.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm the actual film lover. Bailey's just here.
That's cold-blooded. I liked Midsommar and Hereditary.
Oh, that artsy, pretentious bullshit.
And It Follows was okay.
It was okay. All right. Before we start throwing hands here, do you want to get into the spoilers of it?
We kind of already spoiled it.
How did we spoil it?
In our intro.
We didn't spoil it in the intro. No, we didn't.
Okay, then yeah, I'm ready for spoilers.
All right, future person who's editing this, because I don't remember whose episode this is to edit. I think it's mine, but are we going to hold up our beers?
Yeah, roll the spoiler music. Spoilers. Was that a refreshing sip you took from your beverage there, sir?
Yes, because we are drinking on this podcast because we want this podcast to be perfection, so we have to drown ourselves with alcohol in order to make it perfect.
Yeah, exactly. We have to use the alcohol to numb our over analytical portions of our brain so that we're more relaxed and can just spout nonsense instead of providing legitimate information.
Yeah, so this podcast is just us spouting off useless bullshit instead of actual legitimate information. But no, why do you give it slightly above average? Like, what is the reasoning behind it? Because I'm genuinely curious, because you said a lot of people hype this up and it's better than what people think it is, or it's not as good as people think it is. They make it better than it is. Why?
So normally when we give reviews, I like to give the reasons why I like a movie because I feel bad for giving reasons why I don't like movies.
I have noticed you do that.
Right. Well, because if I give a reason I don't like something, then I become an asshole because I'm like nitpicking. But for this movie, there are a couple of things I don't like, so it becomes easier for me to do that.
Oh, so you don't like to nitpick the movies that you like. That's what this is.
Well, no, even a movie I dislike, I don't want to nitpick.
Okay, without further ado, here is Bailey nitpicking this movie on things that he does not like.
My major issue with this movie is I think it's trying to do too many things without doing enough.
Elaborate on that one.
So it's about like psychosis, right?
Yes.
And I think that it portrays psychosis very mildly in a really good way because the mother character and Natalie Portman's character are both crazy in their own way. Like Natalie Portman is striving for perfection and she's, she scratches herself and she's super, this has to be perfect, I'm going to do it again and again and again, which is shown in a lot of scenes. For example, the scene where the piano player is like, hey, I'm going to go, I have a life. And she's like, oh, well, fuck, because she's still trying to get it down exactly perfect. And I think they do that aspect of it really well, showing her descent into madness and showing that her mom has always been kind of mad. Or at least that's the way I interpreted her controlling mother character.
I interpret her mother as, because she says a line when they're talking about how she wants her daughter to be perfect and a blossoming ballerina. She wants her to achieve greatness because she never did it because she got pregnant.
At 28.
At 28. And it upsets Nina, who is Natalie Portman's character. Her mother is Erica, who is controlling, domineering, obsessive, the type of parent where, I guess if I had to give an example, it would be the ex-NFL star or whatever, or the college athlete. Well, better example, the college athlete who could have went to the NFL, right? They were a star quarterback or whatever in college, had an injury, and never made it to the pros. But they played college ball. But they could have went to the pros. They have kids, and they enroll their kid in sports immediately as soon as they can walk. They're like, all right, you're doing the little league football team. You're going to play. You're going to play it in junior high. You're going to play it in high school. You're going to play it in college. And you are going to live my dream. I'm going to live vicariously through you because I never achieved it, but you can. So do it, whether you like it or not.
No, I'm right there with you that was her mother's character to a T.
Yeah, and like that was her character. And I think that it drove Nina to insanity.
No, that's definitely a factor in it because, you know, she has a controlling mom whose life was dance or ballet, who brought her daughter up that your life is dance or ballet. Now she's, you know, at this precipice, this high point in her company, and she's got this role that she's always wanted, but now her mom's trying to sabotage her.
Right, because her mom has realized that she has
Surpassed.
Yeah, she has surpassed her in this way. She's ascended to the greatness that she wanted, and now she's jealous.
And it could be me misinterpreting it that her mom was trying to sabotage her.
No, I 100% think her mom was trying to sabotage her because her mom cares, but not in the right ways. Even when she was scratching herself, right, her mom's immediate reaction is to take her into the bathroom and start cutting her nails to the point where she's hurting.
Yeah, where she's missing and accidentally cutting her like cuticles and shit.
Right, that was the solution because you can't be trusted because you're scratching yourself and you're wearing a I don't want to use the incorrect term because I don't know shit about ballet.
I don't either.
But you're wearing the costume which has an exposed back, which is going to expose the scars and it's going to expose the scratches and the cuts, and you can't do that. So we're going to cut you on your fingernails down to where you will never, ever hurt yourself again.
Right.
Her mom was the controlling aspect of it and made her go into psychosis, which she could have been crazy to begin with.
I mean, the fact that this portrays her as like a grown-ass woman still living with her mom.
As a little kid.
Well, she's living like a little kid with her mom, even though she's grown. Because her mom makes her breakfast and she expects her mom to wake her up.
And she has stuffed animals. Her room is very, very childish. Like it's pink, princess, stuffed animals everywhere. She's how old is she in the movie?
I don't know if it ever says. If it does, it's something that I missed or didn't catch. This is my first time watching it in probably like 8 or 9 years.
She's old enough to drink.
She's old. She's grown. She's clearly portrayed as a grown-ass adult.
She's in her mid-20s. I would say probably mid-20s.
At least.
Yeah, and she is in a princess pink room with stuffed animals that a 10-year-old girl would have. Like, that's a 10-year-old girl's room, right?
Yeah. Well, so that's, we're continuing on it. That's another reason why my score's lower, because the characters feel weird, but not in a believably weird way. Like, I'm confident there are probably grown-ass adults out there somewhere living with their parents as a child still, where they have, like, children's toys and no responsibilities because their parents never expected them to grow up or forced them to grow up. Like, I'm not denying that exists. But I don't think it's not prominent enough for me to feel good watching a movie about it. Like, I was bored during this movie because the whole Nina. For some reason, I wanted to call her Natalie, but that's because that's her actual name.
You can call her Natalie.
But when Erica and Natalie, their whole relationship to me is ridiculous. Like, it's not, I don't get any joy from watching it. It seems boring and predictable. And that could just be me that could just be me being a dick. Like, there's no legitimate reason for that to have bothered me as much as it did. But their relationship dropped my score significantly.
And I guess from the psychological side of things, that is a very real common occurrence where you have mothers who are overbearing, domineering like that, who cause their children to have OCD anxiety disorders, because I don't believe that she ever wanted that or had that. Now, the psychosis aspect of it, where she's hallucinating and later in the film, seeing things and doing things, I believe that that's just genetics, right? That can happen. Her mom was obviously the same way. And I think the part that really showcases that is the cake scene. I like the cake scene a lot, where she goes, oh, I'm not really hungry. I I got the part and my stomach's still in knots, and I really appreciate this gesture. Thank you. I just don't really want to eat. And then she stops cutting the cake.
It's like, okay, fuck you. I guess I'll throw it away. It's garbage. Everything I pick out is garbage.
No. That's not it. I'll eat a piece, okay?
Oh, well, okay, great. Perfect.
Here you go. Lick the icing off my finger. Like, that's just like a controlling thing.
Yeah, that scene is what did it for me. Like, that's the scene where I am immediate, which I guess that could make it a good movie. Because during that scene, I was like, oh, I'm fucking annoyed. I'm pissed off this lady's like a manipulative bitch.
Right.
Which I don't like to refer to people as that, but that scene made me mad. And I was mad throughout the rest of the movie at the mom character. Every time she talked, I was like, oh, I wish you'd shut the fuck up.
Which is what you should have been, because that's what it was. I think that scene does a really good job of that, because it showcases what type of person she is and doesn't ever hide it. Like, that's where it blatantly throws it in your face and goes, for the rest of this movie, she's going to be a piece of shit to her daughter and shouldn't have ever actually been a mother. And then when you talk about the sabotage and everything, that highlights it. That's where it starts. That's why when she says, oh, you were up all night scratching, don't worry. I called the company and said that you weren't feeling well and it's going to be okay. And she's like, fuck you, bitch. This is my night.
Yeah, I'm the Swan Queen, bro. How are you going to call and tell them the Swan Queen's not going to be there?
Right, like that's not how this works. You never obtained that, but I did. Stop it and get out of my way. I'm moving out.
Yeah.
And I think Lily's character, Mila Kunis, I really liked how she was the representation of the Black Swan. Like, that was the Black Swan. And Nina was the White Swan. Because even in the early parts of it where she's auditioning, Thomas Leroy, who is played by Vincent Cassel, tells her the White Swan part, not an issue. Nailed it perfectly. But every single time I've seen you dance, you have obsessed over every single move, making it perfect, pinpoint accuracy. You can dance if the Swan Queen or the White Swan part, okay? If that was all that we were auditioning for, it would be yours in a heartbeat. You should have it. But you got to dance the Black Swan.
You have no passion, no soul. It's just mindlessly following the preset choreography.
Yeah, it's just practicing the move over and over and over and over and over again, and not letting the music flow through you, not letting loose, not enjoying it. And that's all that Lily's character is. Lily is fun. Lily is seductive. Lily is everything that she wishes she was, but isn't.
Well, the dynamic between Mila's character and Natalie's character was really good.
Yeah, it was great. I think that's what makes the film.
No, I wholeheartedly agree that is the best part of the film. But you mentioned another character that every time they were on the screen, I was just like, oh, fuck this guy. I wish he would fuck off. Which is Thomas, or I think they call him in there Thomas because it's more French sounding.
It's more French sounding and sounds more elegant.
Yeah.
Because this is the...
Pretentious.
Well, is this the ballet?
Pretentious artsy bullshit.
You're still fucking on that?
Thomas's character, I fucking hated that guy. Like, he's a womanizer. He is known in that community because it's said to Natalie by multiple different characters, hey, is he like you have to suck his cock for that part? I know that's the kind of dude he is. If everyone knows that's occurring, why is no one getting law enforcement involved? Like, I don't know. It's, to me, the way he acted was inexcusable and frustrating, that everyone was just like, pointed out, oh, that's an issue, but it's fine.
Okay, but that summarizes the entertainment industry, though. And that's why I liked it. That's why I like his character, because he is the physical representation of what goes on in the entertainment industry and the quote-unquote price of fame that you have to get to. Because, Winona Ryder, Beth's character, who was the Swan Queen, and then gets too old, even though Lily says multiple times, oh, she's great. And even Nina is obsessed with her. She's like, oh, she's a great dancer. Like, everybody knows she is great at what she does, but because she is old, she cannot be the Swan Queen. We have to get new blood in here. Doesn't matter your skill level. And when, like what you had mentioned, when she meets Nina, she asks, What did you have to do? Did you suck his cock to get this part? Like, you've always been this perfect little princess. How'd you get it? And it highlights the entertainment industry because you hear those stories all the time with Dan Schneider, the creepy Nickelodeon dude?
Yeah.
Jeanette McCurdy called out, who looks creepy. Harvey Weinstein's a great example.
Well, Harvey Weinstein is the example I was going to give. I feel like had this movie been made after the Me Too movement, then either Thomas's character would have been completely different, or it would have been a movie about everyone banding together to get him canceled.
Right. But that's not what it was, and that's why I'm glad that it was made before then, because it highlighted that aspect of it, which obviously the entertainment industry is changing, but that shit still goes on.
Oh, absolutely.
And it doesn't hide that fact. It says, here's a powerful person who is really good at what they do. You want to be in a production by Leroy Thomas, right? This is the guy. You're in one of his shows, you're in. But you're going to have to fuck him. Because Lily even asks, well, how is he? Because it's just assumed that she's sleeping with him. That's how she got the part. And he does forcibly kiss her, and then she bites him, and he gets upset. He's like, why the fuck did you do that?
Oh, no, he's not upset. It turns him on. That's why he gives her the part, because he's like, oh, she's got that fire in her that makes my cock-a-doodle-doo hard as fuck.
Right, but for the wrong reasons. But
No,
he's
it's
like,
fucking gross.
right, no, and his whole character is disgusting, but that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be likable. He was supposed to be married to the craft and greatness at all costs. So I have to sit here and seduce you. And like the scene that I like to point out to people that is disgusting in so many ways is when he is dancing with her after he has told the guys to go home. He's like, you're not getting this. Let me dance with you. And he does all this creepy fucking shit to her and goes, that was me seducing you. Should be the other way around, and just walks off.
Yeah.
Like, I get being a method, like, you know, Christian Bale, method actor, getting into the part and stuff. And I think that there was a better way to show her how to seduce.
I hear what you're saying. And it's not even like, so I don't think the actor's a bad guy. Like, I'm not holding anything against him because I recognize that he was just playing like a role.
Well, no, we're not talking about him. We're talking about the character.
Right. But even the character doing it like that, I think that's the best possible way he could have done it, because he's supposed to be a creep.
Right. But what I'm trying to get at is his intention was to get her to let loose, because he wanted her to become the Black Swan. And in order to do that, you have to let loose and live a little. And he could have done it in a multitude of different ways that didn't involve him basically, like, you know, groping and molesting her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he didn't have to do that.
No, I'm in agreement with you. There are a lot of ways you could talk about that. Not you, but him as a character could talk about that to Nina and be like, listen, this is what you're doing wrong. This is what I need you to do. Instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to be all weird and creepy.
Well, he could have even demonstrated the dance with somebody that he's, like, you know, actually interested in, he's in a relationship with. Like, if he had a wife, for instance, right, who was into ballet, like, if I was in his situation, I would take my wife and then do the dance, be all sexy and sexual with it, and then go, this is how you do it, not basically force myself on someone.
And who would that be with?
I have no idea.
Right, but what character would you want him to do that with to show it?
Whatever character. What are you trying to mouth?
I wanted you to say his wife again, so I could go my wife.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't get you to repeat it.
You're welcome. I knew you were gonna make that joke, so I intentionally made it not funny.
That's cold-blooded, dude. That hurts my soul in like a real deep way.
But I do want to talk about Lily's character, because I think she's my favorite by far, because she is the Black Swan. And I think the most impactful scene for me personally is when Nina stabs her with a piece of broken glass and has that transformation of, it's my turn, because that is her taking over and basically becoming the Black and White Swan. Or fully becoming the Swan Queen. And it is letting down that guard, letting down the constant need to be perfect, and realizing that in order to achieve perfection, sometimes you have to just let it go.
You have to give in to the passion.
Right, which is a great message. She just doesn't do it the appropriate way because she kills herself.
Yeah.
Which is like what you were saying with she kills herself in order to achieve greatness. And the reason that she kills herself is because she has achieved greatness and knows that it's only downhill from here because she's seen what Beth's character has done.
Right, exactly. And you tying in Beth to Nina in that moment, I think is perfect because Beth is the original, Nina's the replacement, and Nina's going to be replaced by Lily.
Right, because in the other scene that I really enjoy is when she meets her at the hospital and starts giving her shit back that she stole and goes, I get it now. I get it. I'm sorry. She's trying to replace me.
Yeah, no, and exactly. You hit it on the head. Us talking about this is making me think that maybe I gave it a little too low of a score and was too critical.
I mean, there are the depth of it with stuff like that and is why I enjoy this movie, and that's why I gave it a 4. The reason my score was a little lower is because, number one, Leroy Jenkins is kind of creepy.
I fucking hated that guy.
And it made me kind of uncomfortable sometimes. I also, for fun fact, the first time I watched this movie was with my mom, and looking back on it, I'm like, why did I watch this with my mom? So that was like, okay, kind of eye-opening at the same time. But also, the beginning is a little slow, and I get you have to set things up. But I don't like shaky camera angles, as mentioned in the Wind River episode. So when she's doing her dance at the beginning and the camera is almost trying to follow her moves, but in a very shaky way, and especially when she's like spinning in the audition and he goes, again, again, again. I didn't really like that. I thought it was shitty camera work and kind of ruined it for me, but it gets a lot better as the movie progresses, but maybe because I'm tied into the characters and not noticing it as much.
That's very possible. I thought that the visuals in this movie were done really well. Like a lot of the scenes, for example, when Nina has the feather form and come out like the full-ass feather, I thought that was pretty cool, in her transformation into the Swan Queen at the end of the movie. And then transformation back like all during the dance. I thought that was done really well. It looked cool.
Well, I thought the transformation of when the lights go out and she's going back there trying to find whoever's doing it, like, turn the lights on. Hey, I'm still working here.
Yeah, it's like the third time it happened when it's just her alone.
And she sees Leroy and Nina hooking up. Or not Nina, sorry. Lily hooking up. They're basically the same person. But sees them hooking up and fucking. And then I think the reason I called her that is because her face transforms into Nina.
Like 5 or 6 times throughout the movie.
Multiple times. Which shows the psychosis of her trying to give in to that dark side, I guess. But even that, when he's like doing it and then he turns around and he is, the Black Swan. I thought that was cool. Like, there are really cool visuals in this movie. I will agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and her, Natalie's eyes changing when she turns into the Black Swan. I thought that was a super cool effect. The first time that it happened, it was spoiled in the trailer.
Because
trailers ruin movies. But the first time that happened during the film, I was just like, ooh. I was like, that's nifty.
No, and I like that scene too. I think that transformation where she goes to like the blood red eyes was what you're talking about was super cool and done very well. And then when she's dancing the Black Swan part with the Swan King and you still see her eyes as the blood red was really, really cool. But I think, so what was your favorite scene in the whole movie? Because I have one scene in particular, and you might have guessed it because it's kind of the same scene as in Requiem.
I'm not sure.
The bathtub scene.
See, I don't remember the bathtub scene in this.
So the bathtub scene.
Oh, when the blood drips into the water? Okay, yeah.
And you have that POV from under the water. Yeah, I really liked that one.
That was solid.
That was my favorite shot in the whole movie. But that also ties into the bathtub scene that he does in Requiem, where she like screams underwater. So I guess Darren Aronofsky likes bathtub scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's into the whole bathtub scene. I'm still surprised he didn't do the Nightmare on Elm Street bathtub scene.
I mean, that's my favorite scene out of that movie, and that's why the remake pissed me off, but we'll get into that whenever we do that movie.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is, like, he could easily have one of these psychosis characters seeing a random hand roll up.
I mean, yes, because she does see, herself staring at her in the bathtub?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, I mean, she's crazy.
She's super obsessed with herself because all of her hallucinations are just her.
But that's perfection, right?
I don't know, man.
Well, perfection is achieving, like, making herself perfect is what she wants to be. So seeing herself and hallucinating, and even the first time you see it where she gets the part and is walking in the train station, and at the end, you know, she flips her phone down and the person flips their phone down at the same time, but they're dressed in all black, and then they walk by each other, and it's just her staring at herself.
Well, aren't those Mila Kunis?
No, that was her.
So, like, in the train at the very beginning when she's riding on it, it looks like Mila Kunis.
Right. I'm talking about after that, though.
Oh, okay.
Because, no, that was foreshadowing Lily,
Yeah.
the Black Swan.
Yeah.
The true Black Swan.
Yeah.
Also, I really wanted to talk about the masturbation scene made me uncomfortable.
Where her mom was watching her?
Her mom wasn't even watching her. She was just passed out there.
No, her mom was watching her. She might not have been watching her masturbate, but she was definitely watching her sleep, which is just as creepy.
Right. But she wasn't watching her masturbate because she figures it out and then, you know, immediately stops. But I thought that scene was kind of weird. I think the other scene that I really wanted to talk about, because the first time I watched it, are you okay? You can say it in the mic.
Will you slide me that? Thank you, sir. I was just hoping you'd see me reaching for it or see me like looking at it and know.
Oh, and I'm not a fucking mind reader. But no, the other part that I really wanted to talk about was the Lesbo wet dream.
I don't think it was a wet dream.
Well, no, it was.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because I feel like her mom reacted to Mila being there because she was like, "Who's your friend?"
No, she didn't. She never says that.
Does she not?
No, because the first time I watched it, I thought, and I really paid attention this time, she never once acknowledges that she is there.
She doesn't say, "Who's your friend?" right when she opens the door and walks in.
No.
When Mila's standing behind her, she doesn't?
No, I'm pretty sure she does not.
Okay.
Because I paid attention to that scene.
I paid attention to that scene.
Yeah, because the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, did that really happen? But no, it doesn't happen because she does not acknowledge her at all. Because when she walks in, she says, "Where have you been?"
I remember that.
And she's like, doing stuff.
Yeah, it was with
Tom and
Jerry, and I fucked them both.
Yeah. She never acknowledges Mila Kunis. And then you also see Mila Kunis, and this is how, like, the definitive proof that it's all inside of her head. Because when you, and I forget exactly what the words are, but there's a shot where she's mouthing something, and it pans over to Lily mouthing the exact same thing, which is like the Fight Club effect, you know, where Tyler's words are coming out of my mouth, which is what that was.
So I know what you're talking about. I remember that happening, but what I thought that was is the way my mind imagined it is it was more like a triangle.
Okay.
And Nina was looking over at Mila to find out what she was supposed to say. Like, oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to say in this situation. Give me advice. So she was looking over to her as it was being mouthed.
No, I took that as Tyler's words coming out of my mouth because I'm hallucinating you and this never happened.
What you're saying makes more sense than the way I thought it happened. So you're probably right.
Well, because that was the one scene when I watched it the first time that never truly made sense to me because I was in the same boat as you thinking this is real. That happened and she's just gaslighting her.
No, I thought that's what it was. I thought that when she went up to her the next day and she was like, "Oh, you had a Leslie wet dream about me?" I thought that was 100% gaslighting because I assumed Mila stole her shit too.
Right. But no, Lily never steals her shit. Lily wants to become her, but Lily's also not
crazy.
Obsessed.
Those are synonyms.
I guess, in a way. But no, she's not obsessed with her the way that she's not obsessed with her the way Nina was obsessed with Beth, because after Beth figures out that she is getting kicked off of the production, she's no longer the queen or whatever, and she throws whatever into the mirror and is screaming fuck or whatever.
Yeah, losing her shit,
I mean, obviously. And then she goes in there and takes her lipstick. She's like, ooh, lipstick, and puts it in her pocket. Lily never does that because Lily is the, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't happen, it's okay. That's her character, and that's why I liked her. It's not that obsessive, this needs to be me. Like, if it happens, it happens, and that's cool. But if not, it's okay. Like, obviously, she's pissed off whenever Nina shows up because she was being told that she was going to be the Swan Queen. This was going to be her production basically at that point. And then the real Swan Queen comes in and she gets mad. But I feel like that's every understudy.
I mean, I feel like that's how anyone would be in a situation like that.
Right. I mean, I think that she was 100% upset, and that's how she should have reacted, because anybody would react in that situation. And then with, him smiling, because what is it that she says? When he calms her down and he's like, let me go talk to her, and then they're in there, she's doing her makeup, and she goes, do you want another controversy like with Beth? And he just smiles. He's like, you've hit it. You understand now, because he knows that this is going to be amazing. She's going to do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show because the fear and the timidness that was in her before has been exercised.
Right. It has become, she's become the Black Swan. She's become the Swan Queen in that moment, and I think that he realizes it, and like, that's cool.
She got hit with that dusk stone and evolved.
You've been playing too much Pokemon.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I get that reference. Who was your favorite character? Because I've talked about how Lily was my favorite character just because she's the opposite. She is the Black Swan. So who was your favorite character? I know who your least favorite characters were.
I think it has to be Lily because she's the only character who throughout the whole movie I wasn't like, the fuck are you doing, bro? Like at no point did she do something that was like overtly questionable.
She did spike her drink.
She was making eye contact with her when it happened.
Okay, it doesn't excuse the fact that she took a fucking ecstasy pill and opened it and then mixed it in with her drink.
While making eye contact with her. Taylor, if I was to take your beer right now.
But hold on. Was she actually making eye contact with her?
Not initially, but by the end of it.
Exactly.
And right when Nina walked back up, she was like, you put some shit in my drink. How long does it last? And she was like, a few hours tops.
And she goes, a few hours? Yeah. And then starts drinking it.
Right, but that was her acknowledging it. Hey, I know you spiked my drink, and that was her saying, hey, I spiked your drink, but it's only going to last a few hours. Like, it's not like she was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I didn't do anything to your drink. Why are you being weird?
It doesn't matter. It was the fact that she was going, it was because she got caught. If she hadn't have gotten caught, she was still going to do it because the intent was to get her to fucking loosen up and not be such an uptight asshole.
You're probably right.
No, I'm not probably right. I am right. She just got caught in the act and then owned up to it because that's the kind of character that she is. But she's still kind of shitty for that because she was going to spike her drink.
Okay, so I'm not saying she's not shitty. I'm saying she's the only character who the whole time I wasn't like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? At pretty much every decision point they made. Because the other main characters, every time they had the opportunity to make a decision, they made the least logical one to me.
The craziest decision.
Those are synonyms.
I know. I just want to hear you say it again. Okay, no, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you to an extent.
It's not that she's the only character that I didn't hard dislike for one reason or another.
Like, she's still a piece of shit, but she's not the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Her shitty actions are outshined by the shitty actions of literally everybody else.
Yeah, like drugging someone's drink is bad, but sexual assault is worse.
Yes.
Drugging someone's drink is bad, but being a domineering, controlling piece of shit mom for 20 plus years is worse.
Well, and I guess Lily's intent behind it wasn't in a malicious way.
Yeah, it's not I'm drugging you so that you will be roofied and be unable to function so that I can take you to the back of my van and do whatever I want to you. It's, I'm going to give you a little bit of ecstasy while I'm here with you so that we can have a super jolly good time together.
Well, and even when she says, I overslept, she goes, oops, like she didn't mean to.
Yeah.
She didn't mean to cause her to oversleep. Like, well, I mean, I guess you could take it as maybe she did. Maybe that was the intention. She was hoping she could get her to pass out and miss it so that way she could have her opportunity to shine.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I interpreted it, but also there wasn't enough there for me to go hard facts. That's what happened.
An opinion-based podcast. No, I agree. I think that was slightly the intent, but the major purpose of it was you're not being fun. You need to fucking relax. And because you can't do that on your own, I'm going to help you.
with drugs.
Well, and she also wanted to, smash Tom and Jerry.
His name was Andrew.
Do you know who that was?
No. It was Bucky.
Yeah, Sebastian Bach.
Yeah, that's one of my... I have a friend who has like a huge crush on him.
I mean, he is a very attractive man. I get it.
Wasn't he voted most attractive man in 2022?
That one I don't know.
I could be totally off base with that.
Well, I still think it's Ryan Reynolds.
I still think it's me.
Oh, you're not Ryan Reynolds.
No, I'm just playing. I know I look like smashed ass.
I mean, maybe? Smashed ass, but in a good way. No, not at all. You're the ugliest piece of shit I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
No, I know. Thanks, bud.
Was that really your favorite character, though? Because of that? Was there nobody else that had any redeeming qualities?
Well, I mean, Nina had redeeming qualities,
For the most part.
but she still decided to kill herself at the end. Granted, it could be argued that it wasn't a decision and it was just psychosis taking hold.
There's no argument about that. That's how it was, but continue.
But overall, her character is still this weak, submissive person who let the predatory company manager dude take advantage of her and let her mom, take advantage of her. Like,
I don't think she let them do it. I think that because her mom...
conditioned her over 20 plus years to be a submissive, weak person.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it was her fault because she demonstrates at the end that she is more than capable of saying, fuck you, I'm doing my own thing. I am making my own choices. This is what I want. Not what you want, what I want.
And that's great, but her choice is killing herself.
Not intentionally. That's the psychosis. Her choice of making out with fucking Leroy Thomas, the production, like the director.
Yeah.
After
the second act.
After the second act,
Yeah.
that was intentional.
Right. I'm not saying that it was never consensual, but I'm saying that her character, to me, was weak and decided to have strength in places that to me are irrelevant. Because if you could be the best dancer in the world and focus all of your strength into that, but if you let people take advantage of you, it has no value.
But isn't that the whole point of the Swan Lake?
Yeah, no, for sure. But I don't like her character for that because I still feel like her character was stupid and made bad decisions. Like, I see the point and I see how what she did was justified and made sense for the world that this movie is set in. But to me, as an outside person peeking into this world, I think it's dumb. Like, I think her choices, her decision making, her goals, her dreams, to me, it's all silly and pointless. Like, being the top dancer for this company, is it the best company in the world? I don't know.
In her eyes, it is.
Right, but I don't care. Like, to me...
All right, Tom.
To me, her decision making was poor, and that's why I don't like the movie. Like, that's why I don't like her character, because she should have never been in this situation if she had made good decisions her entire life up to this point. It's the same thing with Requiem for a Dream. I don't feel bad for most of those characters because I'm like, oh, what the fuck do you mean? You put yourself here.
Totally different. That is totally different.
I'm talking about in regards to her deciding to kill herself, not in regards to the things that happened to her, like her mom being a piece of shit. Granted, her mom being like that for so long and her not doing anything, I'm kind of like, this is going back on you. But the Thomas thing, like, that should have never happened. That should never be a thing at all. Like, she should have just immediately been like, oh, nah, fuck you. Oh, you want to kiss me to get this role? I guess I'm not getting this role. Which, it was cool that she accepted that she wasn't getting the role. Like, that was fine. But then when she got the role, it should have been an entirely different movie. It should have been a movie about her not getting the role because she wasn't trying to bang this dude, and then her getting her revenge, and then her becoming the Black Swan by shedding her purity by seeking revenge.
You were looking at this way too logically.
I'm just saying it would have been a better movie to me.
Yeah, because you're looking at it from a logical standpoint when you have to look at it from the psychosis side where the logic will never make sense because psychosis doesn't make sense. I guess because I deal with like psychosis people every day, it makes sense to me, and I understand where she's coming from and get it because I've seen, real life examples of it. Were there any other topics about this movie that you wanted to talk about? Because I feel like we've hit the nail on the head. Well, except for the last scene. I think the last scene is great. I think the ending is perfect.
I think the ending is perfect, and I think it fits in with the theme of the play, or
the thematic elements,
the theme of the ballet they were doing, because that's how the ballet ends that they were doing.
Right, and this is just like a modern retelling of Swan Lake.
Because of that, I think the ending was really good, but I also think it was really dumb because there's no reason.
I mean, you just don't understand ballet then.
That's very possible.
And I don't understand ballet either, but I see the beauty behind it.
It could very well be me not understanding ballet. If any of our listeners out there are familiar with ballet and understand plot elements of this movie that appear to have gone over my head, please feel free to reach out to us at any of our links or social media sites or Facebook or Twitter or Linktree or 2idiots1podcast2022@gmail.com. Feel free to do it. Let me know that I don't know shit about ballet and explain to me why I'm stupid and this is a great 5 out of 5 movie.
Okay, shameless self-plug aside.
That wasn't a shameless self-plug. That was me legitimately telling folks that if they disagree with how I feel about this movie, to contact me on social media to explain to me why I'm wrong so I won't be wrong anymore.
It's funny that you bring that up because I think we say that every time, we encourage people if what we said does not resonate with you the way that it resonates with us, because everybody's opinion is different, and that's why opinions are a thing.
Hard facts.
An opinion-based podcast. But we tell people that, and I don't think we've ever had anybody that has explicitly come out and said, hey, you're wrong.
No.
Which we welcome the idea.
I would be happy.
Yeah. I enjoy intellectual conversations of people telling me, hey, I get why you said this, but here's why I'm saying it like this. Which, I mean, I even did it with you because you said, I think I've maybe scored this a little too low talking about it. So with that being said, because we've discussed it, what would you score it? If you had to rescore it, what would it be?
I guess a 3.5 would be fair, but I'm not going above a 3.5.
You're not going to go on a 4?
No.
Okay. I can't wait to do artsy, pretentious bullshit.
It's going to be a podcast, and I'm going to come on, and I'm just going to have, I'm going to set up a soundboard with 3 phrases from me. One's going to be a, yeah, I agree. One's going to be a scoff. And the other's going to be like a fucking dipshit. And every time you say something about the movie, I'm either going to scoff, I agree, or fucking dipshit.
That's going to be the worst podcast episode we've ever put out. Worse than our Apostle episode.
No, we didn't even put that one out.
Yeah, I know. But with that being said, do you want to get straight into the Taylor talk?
Yes. What do you have for us today for the talk of Taylors? The Taylor talking extravaganza.
Well, actually, I wanted to kind of propose something to you.
All right.
And you can tell me no.
Hit me with your best shot.
But I think that I want to take the Taylor Talks and the Bailey Babbles in a slightly different direction.
Okay.
You have expressed interest in talking about conspiracy theories.
Dog, when you say it like that, it makes me sound like a conspiracy theorist, which I'm not.
Okay, you can defend yourself. That's fine. Let me finish, though, okay? Calm down.
I'm calm.
Because what I'm saying is you're more of a conspiracy theorist than I am. So I think that it would be fun for you to give me a conspiracy theory that maybe I know, maybe I don't know, doesn't matter. And then I apply so much logic and reasoning behind it that I convince you that it's not real, or you try to convince me that it is. Do you think that would be a good idea?
That could be fun.
So with that being said, do you have a conspiracy theory that you would like to talk about on air?
I don't have a conspiracy theory, but I do have a cool television history moment.
Okay, we can do that then.
Yeah.
This was not the direction I thought this was going to go, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So have you heard of the Max Headroom incident?
I have not. What is that?
Okay, so do you know who Max Headroom is?
I would assume that it's a person who had an incident.
No. So Max Headroom is a fictional character.
Okay.
And he was portrayed by an actor named Matt Frewer. And it was the first computer-generated TV presenter. So have you been to there's a bar called the Max in Tulsa.
Is that the game one?
It is.
Yes, I've been there.
So on their wall, like above their like bar, they have like a little TV, and it's got the face there with the with a circle background, and it's got like really 80s-esque graphics on it.
Yes.
You know the face I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen it when I went there.
That face is Max Headroom. That character is Max Headroom.
Okay. Never put that together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't know unless somebody told you. It's like would be impossible unless you were alive in the 80s and were just aware.
And know the Easter egg.
Exactly. So the Max Headroom incident refers to a hijacked TV broadcast that happened on November 22nd of 1987.
Okay.
So in Chicago, on the WGN TV, I want to say it was a little before or after 9. I'm not entirely certain on that.
Oh, I know what this is. I just didn't realize that's what that was called. But continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So this is the first time the TV broadcast was interrupted, and it was interrupted for, I want to say, under a minute, and all it was just like a weird noise. And they were like, oh, that's weird. I don't understand what could have happened. But they got it fixed. The signal stopped. Everything was super squared away and fine afterwards. And then about 2 hours later, on the same channel, for about a minute and a half or about 90 seconds, it was hijacked. And it was an individual wearing a Max Headroom mask, just being real fucking creepy. And that was, like I said, that was in 1987 in Chicago, and they still, to this day, have no idea who did it, or even how they did it isn't 100% known.
Yes, I remember hearing about that because that's something that comes up with YouTube videos that I watch sometimes. I didn't realize that's what that was called, but yes, I have heard about that.
That's one of my favorite, like, TV moments in history, just because it reminds me a lot of like cartoons almost, where it shows just like a regular family watching the TV, and then all of a sudden the well-known evil villain pops up on the TV and is like, I've taken control of whatever, and if you don't give me $10 million, like, you know, hijacking people's TV systems. And it reminds me of that, and it's just like, oh, awesome, that's cool.
Okay, I really thought you were going to relate that to Anonymous.
No.
That's where I thought you were going with that, where they hijack shit and fuck with people.
No.
Okay. I'm glad that we were on different pages with that one, but I really thought you were going to go the Anonymous route. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. I don't want to hijack your conversation.
No, you're okay.
But yeah, what about it?
No, that's it. I just thought that was a really cool incident about something that has historically happened on TV.
This has gotten to be a really dark Taylor talk.
Well, no. So live suicides on TV kind of fit this movie, because at the end of the movie, Natalie Portman kills herself after being not on TV, but doing a live performance.
In front of an audience. I see what you're talking about.
So it's the same thing. It's just a little different.
Okay, continue.
So I've got one more thing for you.
Oh, I got one more thing for you too, because you saying that ignited my memory of a recent one, but go ahead.
So have you heard of Christine Chubbuck?
Christine Chubbuck?
Chubbuck? I could be pronouncing her last name wrong.
No, I have no idea who that is.
So many years ago, back in 1974, she was a lady on the WTOG and WXLT TV stations in Sarasota, Florida.
Hold on, is this going to be one of those fucking Florida things where you get that headline of like Florida man eats someone's face off bath salts?
No.
Okay.
But so I'm gonna set the scene for you. So you're sitting at home. It's a typical day. You're watching the news, and all of a sudden this woman is reading from you what appears to be her normal report. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV 40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, an exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide, is what she says as she pulls a gun out of her purse or the bag she has on the table with her and shoots herself behind her right ear.
Okay. Wow. That got real dark.
Oh, yeah. But that's another TV suicide or attempted suicide.
Could that be because fame has gotten to them, that they've achieved I mean, obviously not the Bud Dwyer one, but
with her, it was more depression. I guess she had like a problem with her ovaries and had to have them removed, and was told that if she didn't have kids within like a year or two, she would likely not be able to.
Okay. So
And this was a year before suicide, and reading about it, it was very known to everyone that she was depressed. She even made a joke to a fellow person who worked at the news about buying a gun to kill herself on live TV a week beforehand, and they thought she was joking.
it was also a different time back then where mental health wasn't taken seriously at all.
I mean, it was the 70s.
Right. It was like, oh, that was a joke. Where today it'd be like, oh,
I'm going to have to call the FBI on you.
not the FBI, but it would be more of a discussion nowadays with, are you actually okay? Is there anything going on? You know, what's wrong, instead of you're funny.
Oh, you got jokes.
Like, oh, I got jokes too. You ever heard this one?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's just the times are different, which I'm glad we have those conversations about mental health now as opposed to you're joking.
Yeah, the current culture's like focus on mental health and stuff is a lot better, because now if someone has an issue, most people have at least some understanding of what to look for.
The only argument I would make is that it's been so mainstreamed that it's quote unquote cool to have a mental illness now. That would be my only complaint with it. I'm glad that we have the conversation. Like, as somebody who works in the mental health field, it's really cool that we have these conversations now. But also, just because you worry about things doesn't necessarily mean you have a severe anxiety disorder. You just throwing that one out there. Like, don't underplay it.
Or overplay it.
Or overplay it, because that desensitizes people to it, and then we go back to the 1970s where it's just the cycle of, now that we've blown it out of proportion, who cares? That's just the norm. Now mental health's not talked about anymore. It's like, I think it's a vicious cycle.
I think everything in life's a vicious cycle.
Isn't that why fads are a thing?
Yeah.
Things come and go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up. I'm going to save the one that I'm going to talk about, though, because I want to do Nightcrawler at some point.
Okay, and you think that would be a Nightcrawler good one? I don't know what it is.
I'll talk to you about it off the podcast, but it'll be one of those things where I think we could save it and have that discussion for Nightcrawler whenever we do that, because I like that movie.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal.
In Donnie Darko?
And Nightcrawler.
Oh, okay.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal in pretty much everything. He was even in a shitty 911 call center operator movie on Netflix like a year or two ago, and he was even good in that.
But he wasn't nearly as good as he was in Spider-Man Far From Home when he was Mysterio. Did you not watch that one?
Rey Mysterio?
Jesus Christ. No. He's not this, Booyaka Booyaka 619.
No?
No, he's the super villain. It doesn't matter.
I know.
Do you?
Yeah, I've seen Spider-Man Far From Home with Tobey Maguire.
And with that being said, this has been Two Idiots, One Podcast. I'm Taylor.
Andrew Garfield.
You need to stop. You're going to piss off so many people. We're going to get bombarded with negative reviews. This has been Two Idiots, One Podcast. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Bailey.
Thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.